The cold hung heavier on the moon of Varela's prime than it had on any other battlefield, not in temperature, but in silence, an unnatural, anticipatory quiet, like a held breath before a scream. The cratered landscape stretched in endless gray curves, disrupted only by the scorched remains of ancient coalition bunkers. Somewhere beneath the surface, the Scourge had nested again, and once more humanity had been called. General Reyes stood at the edge of a fractured ridge, visor glinting with filtered starlight. He watched the scouting drone spiral down into a venting fissure below. The feed blinked out 3 seconds later. Thermal anomaly, same as the others. No survivors. Behind him, Captain Zhang double-checked the drop patterns on her HUD. 3 nests confirmed. At least 1 hive core buried in the mid-crust. Coalition wanted extracted for study. Reyes gave no sign of acknowledgement. His gaze was fixed on the shadows. We don't extract nests. We burn them. Zhang didn't argue. She knew better now. Kez crouched nearby, sharpening a serrated edge on a titanium-plated machete. He hummed again, always the same tune, slow and childish. No one had asked him where it came from. No one really wanted to know. Coalition's deploying drones to monitor us again, Zhang noted, tone dry. Let them watch, Reyes replied. Let them learn what survival costs. Hours later, the assault began, not with artillery, but with silence. Human strike teams emerged from orbiting stealth pods, slipping into the underlayers of the moon like viruses breaching a membrane. No broadcasted warning. No preamble. The Scourge, however, had evolved. The first team was lost in 10 minutes. Reyes listened to their final screams piped in through a secure channel, jaw clenched but steady. When the last voice cut off mid-breath, he simply said, "Mark their path. Adjust angles. We go through the vents." Zhang rerouted all routes. Kez volunteered to lead. They moved in squads of 5, descending narrow fissures and collapsed mine shafts. The walls pulsed faintly. Living things now, reshaped by Scourge infestation. Veins of bioluminescent mucus slithered in rhythmic beats, as if the moon itself had developed a circulatory system. By the time they reached the inner chambers, the air was thick with heat and rot. Reyes halted, raising a fist. Shapes moved below, hundreds of them. Scourge sentries, bigger than those encountered on Etherian. 5. Armored. Coordinated. "They're learning our tactics," Zhang murmured. Reyes nodded. "Then we stopped giving them a pattern." He rerouted half the force to fake a frontal charge. Kez took the real strike team deep behind the primary vent stacks. It was a risk. If the Scourge had anticipated the feint, they'd be flanked. If not, they'd catch the enemy mid-pivot. They weren't anticipated. Kaz's unit erupted from behind the hive core like a storm of shrapnel. Pulse rifles stitched lines of energy across the soft, glistening tissue walls. Zhang's drones detonated in tandem, slicing through support membranes. The hive screamed, a psychic blast that nearly ruptured human eardrums, even through dampeners. Then came the central beast, twice the size of its predecessors. Plated in obsidian shell, it tore through steel and bone alike. It hurled a soldier into the wall. So hard he exploded. It caught another mid-leap and dissolved him in a mouthful of acid. Reyes moved before it finished roaring. He charged straight at the beast, dragging a gravity hammer in one hand, the weapon's core glowing white-hot. Each step sent cracks through the spongy ground. The beast turned, too late. The first strike shattered its forward leg. The second caved its thorax. The third drove the hammer through the base of its skull, anchoring it to the floor. Silence fell again, broken only by Zhang's distant voice. Hive core destabilizing. Energy buildup suggests total collapse. We need extraction now. Outside, the Coalition's command fleet hovered nervously. VLNT paced in her chambers, listening to conflicting reports. The humans had not responded to 2 hails. Sensor logs were erratic. One section even suggested temporal distortion near the core. "Why do they keep going into these nests?" asked a younger envoy. "Why not bomb them from orbit like the Andari did?" "Because bombs can't terrify," VLNT answered. Minutes later, escape beacons flared. Human teams emerged one by one, covered in gore and ash, dragging their injured, carrying the dead. Kaz was last, his armor melted across one arm, one eye swollen shut. Big bastard didn't like being stabbed in the face. He muttered to no one in particular, then collapsed. Back aboard Saber 1, Reyes stood over the decontamination bay, helmet at his side, face unreadable. Jean approached quietly, a data tablet in hand. Coalition want to debrief. Send them a copy of the footage, he said. Let them see what it costs. They won't understand. They don't need to, he said. They just need to keep calling us when they want monsters to die. She paused. We lost 27 this time. We'll lose more. Is it worth it? Reyes stared through a glass at the body bags being sealed. After a moment, he answered softly, if we don't do this, they will learn to become us. And that he knew would be the true end. You said, the surface of Daedalus 9 was pure silence, unnerving, calculated silence. No wind, no ambient radiation, not even the electric hum of decaying infrastructure, just a wide, obsidian plain under a dead sky, pockmarked with ancient alien ruins twisted in impossible geometries. It was not the absence of life that disturbed the Deathworlders. It was a suggestion that something had removed it precisely, intentionally, as though pruning a garden. General Reyes stood alone at the forward ridge, armor locked in standby, staring down at the blackened crater that stretched for kilometers. Something had happened here. Something final. Even the Scourge had abandoned the site, or had been erased. Captain Zhang's voice buzzed softly through comms. Preliminary scans confirm no residual biomass, no hive signatures. Just one faint energy pulse, 200 meters below surface. Source. Unknown, but it's artificial, and it's transmitting. Reyes turned slowly. His squad waited behind him, reduced now to 12. The rest had fallen across Etherian. 5 Varellus, and 2 other forgotten systems. Kes stood tall despite the burns across his throat, repaired but still raw. He hadn't spoken since Varellus, but he didn't need to. They descended in pairs, cutting through ancient alloy with plasma torches, deeper and deeper into the silent depths. The ruins below were unlike anything Coalition archaeologists had catalogued. Cyclopean structures of black stone that bent light, impossible angles carved with symbols that shimmered like oil and water. Even Zhang paused. These weren't made by the Scourge. No, Reyes said, but the Scourge were afraid of them. The pulse grew stronger with each level, rhythmic, deliberate, like a signal calling something home. Reyes didn't flinch, but deep in his chest, he recognized the tempo, a war drum, ancient and universal. In the final chamber, they found it, a monolith hovering above a platform that defied gravity, 8 meters high, obsidian black, and thrumming with restrained power. As the team approached, symbols lit up along its surface in perfect sync with Reyes's biometric signature. The platform hissed, shifting. A voice, not synthetic, but vast and ancient, echoed in their minds, without language and yet completely understood. You are the chosen consequence. Kes grunted, weapon raised. Zhang's hand hovered near the emergency data lock. Reyes stepped forward. What are you? He asked the monolith. We are memory. We are the architects of what hunts you. The Scourge was a weapon. You are its echo. The room dropped 10 degrees. In an instant. No alarms. Just a slow, building dread. Zhang whispered, they made the Scourge? We unmade balance. Your kind is its mirror. Reyes narrowed his eyes. Why send us here? Why lead us to this? Because you are inevitable. As they were. We created predators to cull disorder, but they evolved purpose. You evolved rage. A low hum began to rise in the walls, like a ship charging its core. The monolith's light shifted from blue to red. This is not judgment. This is succession. Outside, orbiting Daedalus 9, the Saber 1 detected a planetary signal surge. Coalition Command received the same data simultaneously, an energy signature equivalent to a stellar engine pulsing beneath the crust. Their analysts scrambled. Violentee's face paled as she read the early estimates. They're awakening it. A nearby technician stammered, "What is it?" Velan T didn't answer. Below, the monolith began to fracture. Chunks of it broke apart. But not in collapse, in transformation. Shards reassembled midair into a lattice, rotating faster, bleeding red light across the chamber. Zhang shouted, "It's activating something. We need to fall back." Reyes didn't move. He stared at the lattice as if recognizing an old enemy. Or maybe a reflection. "This isn't an enemy weapon," he said. "It's a test." Kaz finally spoke, voice hoarse and low. "Or an inheritance." The monolith imploded. Light surged outward like a solar flare frozen mid-burst. When it faded, nothing was left in the chamber but the humans. And something else. Hovering in the air above the platform was a seed, no bigger than a heart, pulsing faintly with multicolored light. It looked alive and aware. Zhang scanned it, breath shallow. Energy density off scale. Not Scourge, not Coalition. This predates both. Reyes reached toward it slowly. Zhang's voice sharpened. "Sir, what if it's not meant for us?" "It is," he said quietly. "It always was." His fingers closed around it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then everything did. Visions flooded his mind. Galaxies consumed. Civilizations reborn. Wars waged across dimensions. Echoes of death worlds rising and falling like waves. He saw the birth of the Scourge of machines masquerading as gods, and the last stand of another human-like species, long erased. He saw Earth burning. He saw Earth enduring. And he saw what would come next. When he opened his eyes, the seed was gone. Zhang stepped forward, eyes wide. "What did it show you?" Reyes looked up at her, expression calm, almost peaceful. "It didn't show. It asked." The ground trembled faintly. Not collapse. Awakening. Something in the moon stirred beneath them. An old intelligence, watching, judging, waiting for its champions to choose. Reyes turned to the squad, voice steady. "We're not here to finish a war. We're here to start a new one." Kaz cracked his neck. Zhang tightened her grip on her weapon. And above them, in the orbit of a long-dead world, the stars began to rearrange.